You're listening to The Ride to Work with Pastor Fred. Fuel for your faith before you clock in. Enjoy the ride.
You know, sometimes the greatest pain in your life didn't come from who left you, who betrayed you, didn't come from who fought you. Sometimes the deepest wounds came from the damage that you caused yourself. And see, there comes a painful moment in maturity when you stop blaming everybody else and finally face yourself. Because not every scar came from an enemy. Listen to me. Not every wound came from some type of betrayal. Not every setback was quote unquote spiritual warfare. You see, some pain came from just bad decisions. Some pain came from ignored warnings or repeated cycles or self-sabotage. And see, the truth is hard because it's easier to heal from what they did than to confront what you yourself allowed. Today we want to talk about I hurt myself. This is The Ride to Work, and thank you for joining us. I hurt myself because really growth begins when accountability replaces excuses. And we just want to just expand this and open up your minds and be honest with yourself this morning. Because first out of the box, sometimes we become our own source of pain. This is pain-free week and it's Thursday. But I want to unpack this. I just do, because some of the exhaustion you're carrying, it didn't come from lifing, as we say, or life attacking you. It came from constantly ignoring what you already knew. That's where it came from. You knew that relationship was unhealthy. You knew that environment was draining you. You did. You knew those habits were weakening you. Yes, you did, but you stayed anyway. And eventually what God warned you about became what wounded you. You got fair warning. See, some pain it's not persecution, it's just the consequence of ignoring wisdom. You knew this, and watch this. It's difficult because I'll say it like this. A lot of people want sympathy without accountability. I want you to hear me when I say that. Get that. Let that register. We want sympathy without accountability. We want God to remove pain that our own choices keep reproducing. But healing is difficult in that manner. It's difficult. Think about that. It's difficult when you keep reopening wounds through repeated behavior. And watch this. The scary thing is, sometimes self-destruction doesn't look that dramatic. Sometimes it just looks like you tolerating less than you deserve. Sometimes self-destruction looks like, let's say, staying silent too long. Neglecting your peace, abandoning boundaries that you once had set up. Sometimes self-destruction is like just constantly choosing temporary comfort over long-term health. That's what self-destruction sometimes look like. It don't look real dramatic. It's not all the hoopla surrounded. And slowly, you become injured by your own decisions. I hurt myself. That's what we're talking about this morning. So here's the thing. Watch this. You've got to become honest enough to say, I played a role in this. I did. Not to shame yourself, not to condemn yourself, but because accountability is the doorway. It's the doorway. Listen to me, people. It's the doorway. Accountability is the doorway to transformation. Hold yourself accountable. You cannot change behavior you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot. Some of us beautify it. We use things like, God know my heart. Yeah, he does. But freedom begins when excuses end. That's when freedom begins. And you've got to understand accountability is key. That's where it starts. Second thing I want to talk with you about, look, self-sabotage often comes from unhealed pain. That's why you keep doing it to yourself, because you didn't heal from something prior or previous to. So you just repeat the same cycles over and over again, dealing with the same people, the same type people, the same character. Whatever type you got, that's the type that you keep being drawn to. And I'm talking about in relationship. But it could also be situations that you're drawn to. It could also be places that you're drawn to. See, many people hurt themselves emotionally because they're operating from unresolved wounds, unresolved issues, rejection. That was just unhealed. You didn't bounce back from that rejection, so it makes you just settle. And come on, you just out here settling because you just didn't. It wasn't resolved in you. That rejection wasn't resolved in you, so you're just settling now. Your expectations are lowered now. Unhealed insecurity. Now you're overcompensating for something because you were insecure and it wasn't healed. No, you didn't find that confidence and that comfort. You always thinking that you're less than, always thinking that you're lacking. So now what you do, you overcompensate for things, for situations. You have felt abandoned. Come on, let's talk this morning. Abandonment. A lot of people, and here's the thing that I realize, a lot of people don't really pick up on the fact of how significant and impacting the feeling of abandonment is. Because we've pretty much created ourselves or our persona or our image that, I don't need nobody. I'm good all by myself. It's okay. If they walk away, they walk away. I'm straight. I'm good. And we don't understand that, yeah, we can have that facade, on the outside and speak those words audibly into the atmosphere, but inside, that loneliness begins to creep in. And what happens if that goes unhealed, unresolved, what'll make you do is start clinging to unhealthy connections. That's what you'll end up doing. You'll begin to cling to things that aren't really good for you. That's what you'll do. Just to have, some company, just to have somebody in your space, you'll begin to dummy yourself down, knowing, this is why we say self-sabotage. Knowing your intellect, your intuition, your education, your maturity level, your success level, but because you just want somebody around. Here's what you'll do. You'll tolerate, you'll settle, and you begin to cling to things that it's not even on your level, don't even fit you. And you know it. And before long, watch this, your pain starts choosing for you. It starts choosing and making decisions for you. You keep repeating cycles, not because you enjoy suffering. Come on, you're not enjoying suffering. It's just that hurt people or wounded people, they choose familiar dysfunction. Come on, I know I'm talking to somebody this morning. I know I am. You just choose familiar dysfunction. You cling to it. You're drawn to it. Sometimes your greatest enemy is the unhealed version of yourself. That's your greatest enemy. We're talking about I hurt myself, hurting ourselves. That's why some good things get sabotaged by you. Healthy love feels uncomfortable. Healthy relationships, you ain't trusting in them. Stability, that's uncommon for you, so you suspicious. Trauma trains your nervous system to expect the worst, to expect chaos. That's what it did. And when something healthy enters your life, part of you just can't trust it. You can't trust it. Pain convinced you that suffering is normal. That's what pain convinced you of. Look, healing requires more than prayer. And I know you say, oh, just pray. I'm going to pray for you, baby. I'm going to pray for you that things turn around, that you get right. And sometimes healing requires more than prayer sometimes. Just being honest. Prayer is very effective, and don't get me wrong, but it's some things that requires more than just prayer alone. Sometimes you got to be able to reflect. You got to set some boundaries. You got to have some discipline. I mean, come on. You got to be honest with yourself. And most of all, you got to just change your behavior. Stop feeding the version of you that keeps recreating damage. Change your behavior. It's not just feeling better. That's not what healing is. Just feeling better. It's choosing better. It's doing better. You can't keep bleeding on yourself. This is the last thing I want to say, and I'm done. That just popped in my head there, because that's what's going on. We keep reopening old wounds. We keep doing it. It's enough that people will bring up our past. It's enough that people will remind us of the jacked up stuff we did, of the jacked up situation that we were in that they somehow know about, that was leaked out or just was everybody's business. But sometimes we keep doing it. We keep reintroducing it to everybody and to our own selves. Every time you revisit toxic patterns, you just bleed all over yourself again. Huh? I want you to hear me and hear me well and think about this. As far as, when you have a scratch or when you were a kid, and then that thing, your mom will heal it up for you and put that Neosporin or whatever it is to make it feel better, that alcohol peroxide or whatever, and slap that bandage on it or whatever. And what happens is, because you know it's there and because you feel it, it gets your attention. And what happens is you want to bother with it. So like when you used to do, and you go in the house and you scratching on your mom, say, stop scratching it. You're going to make it start bleeding again. This is what's going on. We keep scratching toxic patterns. We keep revisiting stuff that broke us. We keep, things that we begin to settle for or allow when our value system ain't even built like that. It was some stuff we wouldn't even turn our attention to, but now we're entertaining and we're settling it. It just makes us start bleeding all over again. That's what happens. And you know what? Eventually exhaustion sets in. That's what happens. Because you constantly recovering. You're constantly in recovering mode from damage you inflicted on your own self. That's what's going on. Healing cannot take place if you just keep harming yourself. This is why boundaries matter. This is why boundaries matter. Every opportunity is not access. When you're in your healing process, you got to know this stuff. Every apology is not change. Every emotional instruction that you get, somebody, I don't care how they present it to you. Every emotional feeling, that is not instruction. Maturity is recognizing that, look, I can love people and still protect myself from them. That's what I can do. Stop giving repeated access to what God was trying to remove from you. That's how you end up getting hurt. Stop volunteering I'll say it like that. So stop volunteering for your own heartbreak. Stop returning to places that destroy you, that destroy your peace. Mm? You deserve environments that don't constantly injure you. Self-respect. Self-respect. Let me say that. Say that to yourself. I respect myself. Because self-respect is refusing to keep handing yourself over to pain. Stop doing it. You're worth more than that. You're more valuable than that. Than to keep offering yourself up to hurt. Mm? You got to understand it. And I'm getting ready to close. I'm done. But I do want to say this. And this is the hope in this whole situation. God can heal the damage you helped create. He can. I'm just going to say it like that. Straightforward. God can do it. He can do it. He's not intimidated by your mistakes. Your bad decisions, this time you've wasted, emotional damage, destructive sight. God ain't. He's not intimidated by that. You ain't shocking God in that. Restoration begins at that point when honesty enters the room. That's when restoration begins. God can heal what you finally expose, what being honest finally exposes. God can heal that. And hear this carefully when I say it. Acknowledging your role in the pain, that does not make you worthless. It makes you mature. You know why? Because immature people blame everybody. It's always somebody else's fault. Mature people do a self-examination, and it's that's not that they're hating on themselves. That's just wisdom. You do a self-examination. Instead of asking who hurt me, sometimes just ask, how did I keep participating in my own pain? That's what you have to do, because once you identify the pattern, you know what? You can finally break it. You're aware now. And awareness breaks cycles that excuses protect. Wow, I like that. So here's it is. Here's it, and I'm done. Some of you have spent years recovering from damage that keeps getting recreated by your own choices. I gotta say it like that. But you can turn that thing. That thing can be turned for you today. Stop blaming what you refuse to confront. There ain't no more blaming that. No. Reopening old wounds, participating in your own destruction. Stop hurting yourself. Listen, I'll say this. Imagine a person who, with an injured arm, that continues to just lift heavy weight on it every day. They just continue to lift heavy weight on it every day. And every night they pray, God, please heal my arm. But every morning they keep straining the same injury that they're asking healing for over and over again. And eventually the doctor says, look, the problem isn't that healing isn't available. The problem is you keep re-damaging what's trying to recover. And you know what? That's exactly what it is. Some of us are praying for healing while continuing behaviors that keep reopening the same wound. Think about it. Stop hurting yourself. This has been The Ride to Work. Join us again tomorrow. Is Friday. And we're going to close out this series of Pain-Free Week. Thank you. God bless you. We'll see you in the morning.